On today's DNVR Broncos show, we're going to talk about any free agents the Broncos should sign. And there's a big list out there. Michael Thomas, Shaq Leonard, Jimmy Graham, Jamal Adams, Stephon Gilmore, just to name a few. Should the Broncos sign any of those guys? Have any interest? We're diving into the list right now. Wow, we are starting the week with a bang right now on the DNVR Broncos Podcast. We're going to talk about some big-time, wow sort of name free agents that the Broncos maybe should bring in, and then maybe some under-the-radar ones that the Broncos could bring in today, where we are rocking and rolling live from the Toyota Lounge here inside the DNVR Bar, where, of course, the Toyota Lounge is driven and brought to you by your local Front Range Toyota stores. Todd, we're joined by Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis. We're joined by celebrity golfer Henry Chisholm. We've got Landon behind the screen. We've got you here as well, and yours truly, Zach Stevens, rocking and rolling with you. Do we start off with Sleepy Todd or Celebrity Hank? Apparently, I was going to say, apparently not Sleepy Todd.
No,
Todd, you had a big weekend.
Yeah, I had a lot of moving. This week I moved, so if anybody understands or has been through the moving process, you know how I feel right now after a long weekend. I'm tired, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. If you see me yawning, it's not because I'm bored with the show. You know, I'm tired.
My feelings are about to be hurt. Just yawning the whole time.
You have 3 kids.
Yeah.
One's in high school. The other 2 are a lot younger.
Yes.
Were they like a net positive between the 3 of them or negative in the moving process?
Positive because we shipped them out a couple days before the move. So yeah, we let them go stay with their grandparents for a little while.
Okay.
While we moved, because we knew it would have been just you can't wrangle 3 and then also try to move.
But I feel like the high schooler. I mean, he's like a serious athlete. He got some muscle.
Yes, he did. He was very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Okay.
So.
How much gear do you have? Like Broncos stuff?
Oh my god.
Like memorabilia.
I got a lot. I mean, because I got like 30 jerseys from guys from the team. I got like all my Super Bowl stuff. I got awards and game balls. Like, it turns out to just be a lot of stuff, man. And you got to move it all.
What about, do you have the jerseys framed?
Yep.
Some of them? All of them?
Like almost all of them.
So is it a man cave that they're in or something?
It was, yeah.
It was,
now they're just sitting there.
Okay. But they're going to a man cave,
yes,
right?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
there will be one.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
That's important.
Todd, I'm feeling your pain right
Man.
now. It just seems like you have a brand new house with boxes in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Henry, how was being a celebrity on the golf tournament?
It was a pretty crazy weekend. First of all, shout out to Weld County Athletics. We love raising money for them, especially when I get to do my part in it the way I did.
Which is partying, you mean?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was like a really late night. Todd actually came up, though. And this is my favorite story. Yeah. So we were, it's like the first day, like we're going to the dinner or whatever, and we're hanging out with Zach By, 104.3, and this former Broncos cheerleader who we were talking to, who's now like a swimsuit model, also like really cool girl, but she was like, yeah, so what you guys do? And Zach was like, oh, I do a show with Phil Lindsay. And she was like, oh, I remember him. Like, so I was like, I do it with Todd Davis. And she was like, I know Todd. And I was like, wait, what? You know Todd? What do you know about Todd? And apparently there was an event where you were signing autographs. And so you like sit at a table, whatever, people come through, and you were sitting next to her with a big plate of chicken wings. And with one hand, you're eating the chicken wings. And with the other hand, you're like signing things. And she said she was just like shocked because that was not allowed for the cheerleaders.
Eating chicken wings?
You don't remember that at all?
No.
That's all I can say is that's what she told me about you.
I've never done one autograph signing while I ate anything.
Really?
I've done autograph signings at like Buffalo Wild Wings, but
Oh.
You didn't eat the wings there?
no, because like, you're signing autographs, you got to stand up, take pictures with fans.
Yeah.
Like, you're always talking. There's not a time like to really be chewing.
Again, that's why she was so shocked.
I got people lying on my name.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could clear that because that
Well, I mean-
changed my perception of you a little.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. Is it a positive because I can multitask, or is it a negative because I had chicken grease on my fingers?
We're going positive. Then you're just cleaning it on everything you're touching, everything you're signing. I mean, kind of smart.
And it's too hard to sign. You know, like when you write on paper, you got to put pressure on paper. Yeah. You can't just be like trying to sign. Again, it's crazy.
She said she was shocked that was your approach. But hey, if you say it's not true, I'm taking your side.
That's hilarious. I don't remember it happening like that.
Maybe it was the other Todd Davis that's played for the Broncos, or maybe it was
Todd Senior.
Oh, could have been
He would do that. He would do that for sure.
Or it could have been the other Todd Davis,
who started
LifeLock.
Yes. Which I think, again, the identity protection thing, we could really get him if Todd steals his identity.
I think his social security number's still out there.
I bet. Yes. Yes. No, it was fun.
Did he put his social security number?
Yeah, that was his big thing. Is like LifeLock was like this super secure program to help hackers wouldn't be able to get into your computers or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he like publicly put his social security number on like TV, on billboard ads. Like if anybody could like hack my identity, then I think he said I'll give you $1 million or something like that.
Wow.
So that was like the whole like ploy that got the company started.
Did anyone try to say they had your social security number ever? Because of that?
No.
They got you too confused?
No.
Thought you were running a side business along with your NFL career?
No. Only thing that gets me confused sometimes is like, I remember when I first like started applying things for credit. A lot of my dad's stuff was on my credit, and it'd be like, "You had a car in like 1993." I'm like, I wasn't even driving. I was like barely alive. Like, what are you talking about? So that's the only time I ever got like confused.
One of our media friends, D-Mac, he would always put his phone number out over the airwaves, and I just thought that was such a bold move just to put that out there, because I just can't imagine the phone calls you get at like midnight on a Friday night.
Remember when MPJ, like the rookie symposium or whatever it is, took like a Snapchat story, or it might be, I think it was an Instagram story, and it was when Adam Silver was like at the like podium talking, and he had like his personal contact information behind him saying like, "Hey, if you really need help, call me. I give every player my number." And MPJ took like the thing and posted it to the entire world. No. It's never intentional. He's a nice guy. Just
That's hilarious.
So did he have to get all new things then?
I mean, I haven't tried to call it, so I couldn't tell you if the number's been changed, but I would imagine.
Hey, here, would you guys pull up the picture that Henry sent in the Slack, because this is something we got to get to before we talk any football here. Because Henry, do you want to tease up this story? Wait, any more things from the golf weekend?
It was fun. I mean, Neil Smith was playing some pool at the end. I was giving him some pointers, basically like that he picked the wrong teammate. There were a lot of really cool Broncos guys. Saw Alex Singleton, of course. He was shocked to see me. I
hope you weren't wearing what you're wearing right now.
No, I would never.
Good.
Let's see, anything else? Oh, spent a lot of time with CSU's quarterback and punter. Like a lot of time. Yeah, current.
Not the same player. Two different players.
No, two different. Yeah. One Australian, one American.
Of course,
you can imagine which one's which. Yep. Trey McBride. It was a really fun weekend. Made some friends.
Did you golf well?
I was the best on my team, which meant that I ain't holding back.
There you go. That's what
I think we only beat like a couple of teams, but that's not the point. Oh yeah. Also, my mom sent me this because she got some Mexican food up in Montana, and doesn't that look incredible? Just the cheese everywhere, some enchiladas.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks edible.
It's edible. It's food.
Yeah.
Does it look like what I pictured Montana Mexican food would look like? Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It's incredible.
Authentic Montana Mexican
exactly.
Food. Yes.
Don't tell me that's a thing of ketchup behind it.
That's salsa.
No, okay, it's salsa. Because if it was ketchup, that would kind of fit in.
Yeah, here, do you approve?
No.
Okay, well, does it make you hungry?
No, he doesn't.
Does it make you hungry?
No.
Oh my God. This guy has no taste.
Food truck tacos, you hear saying.
I will say I've never
salsas.
seen the rice and the enchiladas in one container. Usually it's like enchiladas filled completely, and then you got like rice.
The point is that the cheese just kind of
you just like it to melt together.
Yeah.
Mexican food.
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it.
Mexican food might be the only food that's allowed to touch. any other cuisine, foods can't touch. Got to have like that line in the plate to keep it sacred. No, absolutely not. That's maybe one of the grossest ones.
You don't eat spaghetti?
No. Where the spaghetti and like salad mixed together. And no, it's so gross. You got to have separation. Yeah. Even Thanksgiving food, that's got to have separation.
No, I disagree.
Mexican food, like the rice can't touch the enchiladas.
You could almost put Thanksgiving food in the blender. And
That's so smoothie.
That you have like
so disgusting.
Like a little bite of like mac and cheese with a little bite of beans with like a little piece of turkey and like. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
You're saying that in a bad way, right?
No, I want Thanksgiving to come.
Thanksgiving!
I need Thanksgiving.
The most overrated food. There's a reason we eat it once a year.
It's so good though.
Because. If you say something special,
I don't think. But the thing about it is, I don't think we eat it once a year. We just have it that way once a year. But because people eat turkey every day of the year, you eat turkey sandwiches, ham sandwiches all the time, cheese, macaroni and cheese all the time. The only thing is like
you never have it together though.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a minus.
If it was so good, wouldn't people be eating it once a week? Once a month?
It's like 3,000 calories. But you don't.
I think I might, actually.
See, you don't, though.
I'm down to go to a Thanksgiving dinner anytime.
Are there Thanksgiving restaurants?
There should be.
Yeah, there's not.
Sounds like there's a market.
There's not.
Well, it's just different. It's just different. There's restaurants that have all the sides and just don't have ham, but you got chicken instead, or you get steak, or you get veal, but you got all the sides there.
Right, but the main ingredient, the turkey's not there.
Turkey's like you know what I'm saying, afterthought for me. Like, it's good to be there, but like the sides are like the winning.
But you get like a little bit of turkey. Yes. I don't think it's overrated because I don't think anybody actually likes it. I think
keep going. Keep talking.
But what people like is that you get to put a bunch of gravy on it. It gives you an excuse to just eat all sides, and then all of a sudden you get like the whole plate of stuff, and then you pour gravy over everything. You have like little mashed potatoes with the turkey, and all of a sudden the turkey's way better. Like it's like the very small base layer. It's like a cake, but the whole thing is just the frosting. But you just need like the tiny bit of like actual cake to be like, okay, this is a cake and not just insane.
What do you guys call the breaded stuff that you eat on?
Stuffing?
Yeah.
You don't call it dressing?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I
go back and forth. I'm
definitely a stuffing guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, should we talk about football?
So wait, on your stuffing, do you just eat it like that? Do you put anything on it?
No, definitely not.
It's
already
so dry,
mushy together.
But I feel like you put gravy on it, and all of a sudden it's
or like cranberry sauce or something like.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
No.
Do you just eat your toast dry?
I put butter on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surprised me a
if
little
things
after all
are
this.
meant to be combined, you can combine
I
them.
feel like stuffing is meant to have.
Nothing is meant to be combined. Somebody combined it.
That's true.
And then you just have to go with it.
Oh, like a peanut butter and jelly is meant to be combined.
Peanut butter came well before jelly.
Yes.
We sure about that?
I don't know about that.
George Washington Carver, right?
Yes,
What?
Discovered peanut butter.
Did he really?
Yeah, he created.
Discovered it. Yeah, stumbled across it.
No, but he created like 200 different things you could do with a peanut or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why aren't any of them named after him?
George Washington. Well, people probably think the other George Washington did it, I guess.
Oh.
No, he's
what George Washington are you talking about?
Carver.
George Washington Carver.
Is this what he's known for?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all he's known for. So we're not talking about the president.
Not for carvings, no. No, we're not talking about the president.
No.
He didn't just drop the last name.
I did not know that. You learn things on
you guys continue the show. I'll figure out what he did.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn about him.
I got to give it shout out really quick to our friends tuning in the Toyota chat right now. We had someone in the Toyota chat about 2 weeks ago said like, wow, I thought the off-season pods were going to be off the rails like you guys have teased all season long. Okay, now they are. I think we've officially hit the off-season.
We have.
And that means we've officially, well, it's always Toyota season, regardless of if it's in the off-season, during the season. The Toyota is always in style because they have Toyotas for absolutely any type of terrain you're looking for, any type of car you're looking for. They've been in the truck game for generations, where they have so many different types of trucks. And they also have sports cars and SUVs and everything in between, including my favorite, and I think our show's favorite, the 4Runner. It is such a cool looking car. They've also got the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck, which is one of 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from over at Toyota. And of course, they've got the RAV4, the Grand Highlander, the 2024 Tacoma, and the 2024 Land Cruiser, which just came out. So if you want to get in on the Toyotas, check out your local Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. Auto Nation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Cortland Toyota in Bolden, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East and Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Also, Bet365. I've had a bit of a roller coaster past few days with Bet365.
Roller coaster?
I'm trying to think. True. That's what people say. I wound up losing money on a Rockies game a couple nights ago, but then through a bunch of honestly pretty smart moves, I was able to get all of it back plus a little bit more. It would have been a lot more. I had a parlay a couple days ago. It was the Yankees to win, which they did, the Rockies to win, which they did, and then the Rockies to win again yesterday. Kyle Freeland came back. Gave up one hit in 6 innings. Rockies took a 1-0 lead into the 9th and lost 2-1.
Yeah. I mean, that's your mistake, is betting on the Rockies to win back-to-back games.
I knew at the time. But luckily, I made some money on some other bets. Shout out Uruguay.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Why did you point at your hair when you said Uruguay?
It's soccer. He's not even from there.
He's not from Uruguay.
No. But I know he's been watching all the soccer. He's been watching all the soccer.
Dios mío.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I get that one, though. Yeah, Uruguay. Uruguay all the way. That's what I've been saying.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, they made me some money. A bunch of other people made some. Bet365 points. This has gone way too long. Bet365 is awesome. If you use the code DNVR365, you can download the app and get one of two options. Either you take the bet and get offer, place about $5 more, get $150 in bonus bets, or the first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $2,000. If that qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund and bonus bets. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, so let's dive into some free agents. But first, Todd, you got some information for us?
Yeah, you guys want a little history lesson?
Yes.
So George Washington Carver, he was born in 1864.
Okay.
And he was our agricultural...
You killed it. Yeah.
Why am
in Uruguay?
I don't know. Now I'm not so sure, though.
Agricultural scientist.
Aesthetic.
And he invented a lot of different things. But mostly what he did was he was able to allow for alternative crops, the cotton, and methods to be produced to prevent soil depletion. Cannot read right now. So basically, he invented different ways for us to farm so that we didn't have to deplete the soil over and over again. But on top of that, he was very, very important, because what he did in 1920, the reason why he has all these like different patents for peanut butter is that peanut farmers in the U.S. had started losing out on selling peanuts because we were getting them from China because they were just doing it cheaper. So people called him, and he had to go talk to the House of Representatives, and he ended up finding all these different ways to use peanuts so that the farmers could once again start selling their peanuts. So that was his reasoning for the 200 different things he could find. So he basically saved the crop cuts.
So what are the 200 different things you can do with a peanut?
Don't have all day.
Everything from peanut milk to peanut flour to industrial dyes made from peanuts.
Wow.
A lot of different stuff.
Wow. This guy.
You gotta try some peanut milk.
This guy sounds no. This guy sounds like he wants to kill my wife because she's allergic to peanuts. So he sounds like
That's
an
what it's all
a-hole
about.
if you're asking me.
Okay, we gotta bring up that real quick. Okay, because peanuts, the allergy, is newer.
Yeah,
that wasn't like growing up. Like there was like maybe one kid in the school.
Yeah.
So what has changed from? Because I bet when he was doing all this peanut stuff, I bet nobody had an allergy.
Probably. Yeah.
And then we were growing up. I maybe had like one kid that couldn't have peanuts.
Yeah.
But now it's like 2 out of every 5 kids has a peanut allergy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I think it's if like mothers stay away from peanuts during pregnancy and like early on in kids' life, they're more likely to have a peanut allergy. And so I don't know, maybe that's a trend. I don't know.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Right.
This one theory from the Mayo Clinic is that
It's trustworthy.
exactly. No, I love their work. I think it's similar to a thing that I've brought up here before, which is that when you expose a kid to germs, all of a sudden he like gets a resistance. So when I behave the way I do, it's why I don't get sick or anything for the most part.
Outside
because
of
of
that
guy. That was not me. But apparently they think that there are a bunch of kids who haven't been exposed to peanuts when they're young.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I guess it kind of spiral because like your kid isn't going to get expired. Doesn't exist, just in case anybody's wondering.
Not yet.
To clarify, not yet. But that kid probably won't spend a lot of time around peanuts.
That's probably true. Yeah.
And then that just it's a
Would
cycle.
keep the cycle going.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I read like 2 sentences of Mayo Clinic, and the rest is kind of my own spin-off.
So really,
for what that's worth.
And Karen is saying in the comment section, saying Zach made that up. No, we just had the Mayo Clinic back it up.
No,
Boom.
Mayo Clinic.
Boom. So me and the Mayo Clinic like this on this one. So I appreciate that Mayo Clinic backing me up there. Okay, so Henry, not showering is not preventative. That's not healthy.
Why are things going great for me then? Also, I already showered today, and I'm showering again later.
Yes, you did.
No, I'm starting my 2 days at the gym because the half days and
Is that
half
no
days.
shower for 2 days?
No, it means I'm showering twice, so I don't want to hear it anymore. At least for like another week.
Oh, when you said 2 days, you meant showering twice, not working out
No,
twice?
working out and showering.
Wow, that's productive.
But if you guys
for
don't play your cards right, maybe my morning workout, I won't shower. Come here and just stink.
I'll
So
be nice the rest of the show.
be careful. Yeah, be careful.
Okay, so Todd, you want to start with offense or defense?
Start with offense.
Start with offense.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really learning the new way of the NFL. It's all
Yep.
about the offense, Todd. Even as a former defensive player, you're still picking the offense. And Henry has come up with a list of about 20 or so players that are currently free agents. And let's break them down. Let's see if any of them are appealing enough for the Broncos to bring in. And if so, is that on a minimum deal, or would the Broncos have to give up more? Why don't you take us through this list? As Kevy says, stanky, hanky, panky.
Of course he does. Yeah, so we just kind of went position by position. I tried to get somebody from just about every position because I figured that made the most sense. Quarterback, they probably don't need to add one. Best guy on the market by far is Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, you say no to that. I think there's going to be a lot of no's, and that's why a lot of these guys are free agents.
Well, really quick, would there be, since quarterback is the most important position in all of sports, would there be any reason for the Broncos to consider bringing Ryan Tannehill in before camp?
No, absolutely not. Unless you're planning on just having Bo Nix learn from him. Like, you have to cut the other two quarterbacks on the team right now and just let him learn from Ryan Tannehill. So I don't think that's a viable option.
I agree. I mean, you would think he'd be the best to learn from. Although, I mean, Jarrett Stidham has more experience in the system.
Right. Yeah.
It's tough to
100%.
make the case at this point.
Impossible, I think, to make the case.
You're probably right. Running backs, this is another tough one. I included 4 of them just because I don't even know who I would pick from the group. But Dalvin Cook is out there. What does that say? He's 28.
Yep.
Cam Akers is 24. Hasn't been himself since the Achilles, right, that they rushed him back from. Bad idea. Kareem Hunt still out there. I really thought he could be a great option last year. I don't even know what he did last year.
Didn't he re-sign with the Browns?
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
after
So he was
he got-
on the
there we
market for the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good, Landon, with that insight.
Then Jerick McKinnon, he's 32. Honestly, I just think back to what he did in that Chiefs offense a couple years ago when they were just feeding him the ball and he would just run and run and run.
Didn't he have, no, it wasn't him who had like 10 straight touchdowns, games with a touchdown.
It might have
him?
been. It might have been.
It would have been 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. No, he was an incredible little shifty receiving. Did you play with him, Todd? In Minnesota?
No.
Correct.
If you did.
Yeah, that was
not-
Yeah, I was like, that's why I said it very slow.
Correct. You were not there at the same time. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the list. Again, I guess Dalvin Cook is the only one that could maybe interest me. And even then, like, just given who you already have, it's not worth it.
No. So far away from Dalvin Cook.
Is he the best option, though?
Well, I was a little interested in Cam Akers because he's 24 years old
Yeah.
and he broke out what I thought was like such a strong rookie season back in 2020. But even then, he averaged 4.3 yards per carry, had 625 yards, 2 touchdowns, played in 13 games. The next year is when he got hurt. But even his rookie year wasn't as strong as I thought. Then he came back in 2022, and that was actually his best season. He had 786 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 4.2 yards per carry, bounced back strong. And then last year, I don't know what it was, but there was just like off the field, not necessarily issues with him, but I think he wanted a new contract from the team, and the team was like threatening to just release him. There's a lot of drama going on, and he had a really bad year. 2.8 yards per carry. He spent time with Minnesota and the Rams as well. But I mean, like maybe you'd take a flyer on him if he's still out there. But right now, I'd rather have the Broncos running back room right now. But I mean, he does have potential there, which is a very dangerous term to use, especially when you haven't seen it come to fruition in a year or two. So that would be the only one that catches my eye initially.
Yeah. And last year it was Kyron Williams who just took that job and ran with it.
Yeah.
And so then he was done. Literally.
Dalvin Cook, though, no way.
Yeah.
After
probably.
what happened last year, and he was so unbelievably underwhelming.
Yeah.
He played in 15 games last year. With the Jets. Todd, guess how many rushing yards he had in 15 games? And I think they brought him in on like
giving the
$8
ball
million.
How many
He was
attempts?
67.
Yeah, for
So you're
15.
right.
Yeah. So it's like for 15 games.
Yep.
That's like 4 attempts a game.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know. Maybe like he probably averaged 3 yards a carry.
Yep. Impressive. He averaged 3.2 yards per carry, had 214 rushing yards. I'm out. No.
Crazy thing is he was at 4 straight Pro Bowls before last year.
Yeah. Very, very weird.
But then doesn't it say something, for the most part, not all the time, but if a team cuts you after 4 straight Pro Bowls like the Vikings did, when they did not have, the Vikings went on to have the worst running attack in the NFL after cutting Dalvin. Doesn't that say something? If you don't have a dude behind a guy and you cut him?
Alexander Madison, I think, had been there for a while.
Yeah.
They
And
thought,
I think he was a lot cheaper, and I think they thought, he was coming into his own. Because although Dalvin was that all-pro running back, when Madison got in, he did a pretty good job. So I think they were just thinking, this guy probably just needs more touches, and he's a lot cheaper, and we can make it work. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I don't think that means that Dalvin still can't play.
Okay, so you think there might be something there?
Yeah.
there might be.
Would I take him now? No. But I think he can still play. I don't know if he fits our team, but as a player, I think he still has like maybe a year or 2 left in him.
Yeah. There's like a weird situation where, like, say you decide to only carry 3 running backs, like you cut Samaje, you try to get somebody through the practice squad and it doesn't work out. Then somebody gets hurt and all of a sudden this really deep running back room you had has just totally thinned out. Then maybe you add him like week 4, week 5, but there's no reason to do it now.
Okay, and that's a really good point. And if that situation happens, I would personally go Cam Akers among this group.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you go Dalvin?
I think so. Probably. I mean, your expectations have to be low. I think that there's a better chance that Dalvin Cook turns out to be like a Pro Bowler. But it also feels like every time the Broncos bring in an older running back, it doesn't go great. Like, I've been really excited. Jamal Charles is one of them where you're just like, oh, here it goes. Theo Riddick was one of them where I got really excited about him.
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon. Yeah, he gave him 1 good year, and then
Melvin Gordon by far the most productive of these
which is crazy.
Veteran running backs. Yeah.
But I was really hyped about him.
Didn't Theo Riddick get hurt on the very first play, or his very first play of preseason?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's what it
Latavius
was.
Murray was pretty good for
Latavius was good.
Latavius was really good.
Yep.
Did you play? Yeah, you played with Melvin, or not? Well, yes, Melvin.
All of them.
But
All
you
of
also
those guys
played
out there.
with Dalvin Cook though in Minnesota for that year, and that was 2020. That's when Dalvin was a monster. He played in 14 games, only 14 games. Had 1,500 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns. He averaged 111 rushing yards per game.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep.
No wonder you think he's good.
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Travis Henry in the chat too. The Toyota chat.
Oh,
that's another great one.
Oh, man.
He was incredible.
At Willis McGahee, when the
He was
Broncos
good,
brought him in, he was actually really good.
He
That
was
was Tim
good.
Tebow. Him and Tim were the best runners on the Broncos. Okay, so not needing to add any running backs right now.
Yep.
Pretty clear?
Yep.
Yeah, that's very clear to me.
And next up, the wide receivers. We've got Michael Thomas, who's 31. Hunter Renfrow, who's 28.
You need glasses?
Yeah, we know that. That's why I can't get a new driver's license, because I can't pass the test.
Oh my gosh, and he's still on the
That's
street
right. I
driving.
forgot.
Oh no.
I forgot that I'd only alluded to that. I never said it out loud on the show. Oops.
Oops.
I think that Hunter Renfrow is the best option, but Michael Thomas has a strong case because of his relationship with Sean.
Yeah.
But as far as the true slot, do we have a true slot that's played in the NFL and understands the position well?
Michael Bandy. 22 catches for the Chargers a couple years ago.
So do we have a true slot?
Well, Todd, you played with Tim Patrick.
Yes.
Could he be? He's obviously not like the Wes Welker style of slot receiver, but could he be a slot receiver?
Yes, he can. Absolutely, he could do it. It's just different having that other body type out there at times,
Right.
which I feel like is necessary. And I think there's a couple guys, specifically Marvin Mims, who could actually like learn how to find open space from a guy like Hunter Renfrow, because I feel like that's the piece of his game that he's missing. Up top, you know what I'm saying, he's got that all day. He can run by you very fast. It's the intermediate routes and really just finding the different pockets. So just as a guy from guys to learn from and have like a second coach on the field, I think Hunter Renfrow would be a good fit.
And he just has all of the, like you said, like Tim Patrick can play in the slot, but he isn't going to be quite as shifty as Hunter Renfrow is. Like Marvin Mims can play in the slot and he'll add the deep threat, but he isn't, first of all, going to be, he's not going to have that feel for space or like those quick hands, like those sorts of things that those guys have underneath. There's so many guys who they can rotate through, but they don't have that true slot, other than Michael Bandy, of course.
Of course. What happened to Hunter Renfrow, though? Because he's only 28 years old. Yeah, 3 years ago, he had 103 catches for over 1,000 yards, which is insane for a slot receiver, 9 touchdowns. Then 2 years ago, he played in 10 games, so was injured, only 330 receiving yards. Last year, played in all 17 games, only 255 receiving yards. Maybe that was purely the Josh McDaniels effect, because I know him and Josh did not get along well. But then even when Josh left last year, he still didn't do much. Was he just a one-hit wonder in 2021? Or is he a good football player that maybe has just been misused the past 2 years?
Yeah, I think he still has some good football left, because I think that ability to find space never leaves you. And maybe he doesn't average 10 yards a catch anymore, but he can still find ways, like 3rd and 4, he can get us 5.5, and we can keep the chains rolling. I think you never lose that ability to find open space. I think you lose the ability to have the run after the catch. But I would say I don't think that's where he's at yet either, though.
Yeah, I think that's a team that's had a bunch of change, obviously. He's very much like a one-trick pony. Like you talk about Tim Patrick, you could play him in the slot. You also play outside. Hunter Renfrow, he only plays in the slot. Like you just can't play him on the boundary. He's not big enough. He'll just get swallowed up out there. He's no speed threat, any of that. Core just sits inside. When you bring in Devontae Adams, you can say like we want Devontae playing the outside, Renfrow to play on the inside, but then you wind up saying like, well, maybe about half the time we actually want Devontae Adams in the slot because he does so much from there. And in those snaps, Hunter Renfrow is just off the field. You know, you look at last year, they bring in Jacoby Myers from the Patriots. That's another guy who is versatile, but I like him best in the slot. And when you're Hunter Renfrow and you have like the one thing you do well, and they bring in some of these other guys who do a bunch of things well, but one of them is like, hey, we might like our matchup. Like against the Broncos, they might say, we want to see what Jaquan can do against Devontae Adams because that makes it tougher for Pat to follow him around, you know? And then all of a sudden that means Hunter Renfrow's off the field. So I think that he's just like a tough fit system-wise because he is kind of limited. He's good at what he does, but he's limited. And that's why if he comes to Denver where you've got 6 receivers who are rotating in, that might make more sense.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to the Broncos need to add a receiver, they don't have a a true number one, but they have depth, and they've got so much depth where I wouldn't be upset if they added Michael Thomas or Hunter Renfrow. I just think that either of those guys might not even make the team once the season starts. So to me, I don't know, kind of like where the receiver room is now, especially since you can't add a number one guy on the free agent market right now. So I might just sit back and say no thanks to these guys. But if it were be a Hunter Renfrow, I think that would make sense. And obviously Sean Payton's connection to Michael Thomas makes a lot of sense, although Michael Thomas obviously has dealt with injuries and has not been himself for like almost half a decade now.
Yeah. And like if they had wound up with Hunter Renfrow instead of Josh Reynolds, that might be a situation that I would have liked. And I think Reynolds is probably the better receiver, but just fit-wise, I think they could really use a guy like that. So,
man,
they're probably just too full to invest more, but I don't know. I'd be tempted if I were them.
There's one guy on this offensive list that we haven't talked about yet, which we'll dive into in just a second, that really, really entices me. But you know what's also enticing? If we could go back 10 years and have Vestibule have Michael Thomas, and you invested in Michael Thomas's IPO back then, you'd be doing pretty well.
And then
right
a few
now.
years ago, you short it?
Right, exactly. Oh, man, if they have that option moving forward, that would be
horrible.
wild.
That'd be horrible.
Betting against players, but you don't have to worry about that now. You're just betting on players to succeed over at Vestibule, where they are redefining fandom in a really cool way, where now you aren't just a Broncos fan. Now you're not just a Baron Browning fan. You actually invest in Baron Browning's future earnings through Vestibule, but you got to have the app to do it. Scan the QR code on the screen to download the app, or go to the App Store and download the Vestibule app. It's Vestible. And right now, like I said, Baron Browning is their very first athlete. They're working to add other athletes, both at the professional level and the college level, so you can get in on NIL money and maybe future professional earnings from college players as well. So download the app by scanning the QR code on our screen, or go into the App Store and get in on Baron Browning's IPO. It's live right now, and shares are available for purchase, but they are limited, so go download the Vestibule app now and invest.
And shout out to Coors Light, the only beer that is specifically made to chill. It's brewed, chilled, and kept chilled the entire time. And you know it's cold when the mountains are blue. Those are the Rockies on there. That's when you know it's chilled. I have definitely had my fair share of Coors Light this week. Moving is stressful, and every night I said I had to have a drink just to like slow down, relax, and then get me ready for the next night. And I definitely reached for a Coors Light. Like I said, it's the only beer that's made to chill. And if you've been doing a lot, if you've been with the kids or at work or golfing, you know what I'm saying, hanging out with the ladies, Hank, you know, you need to chill a little bit. Make sure you get yourself a Coors Light. And you can make the most out of times that you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Remember to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Man, Henry's got just a lot of confidence today. It was a big weekend for him.
There was a lot going on this weekend. It was a very busy weekend. I wound up sleeping through the entire Rockies game yesterday.
Wow.
Until the ninth inning,
just
actually.
like most people.
Yeah.
Including Todd.
That's, yeah.
Okay, so let's get to this next position here on the offensive side of the ball, because Henry, the name that you put on for tight end, has me very interested.
Yeah, so Jimmy Graham isn't all that good at football anymore, but he did play 13 games last year for the Saints. And there's some people think he's either going back to the Saints or he's retiring. It's one or the other. I would say like going to Sean Payton is basically the same as going back to the Saints, though.
100%.
So I wouldn't rule it out. So I do think that this is a possibility. When you look at the other tight ends on the market, Adam Troutman's better. It's that simple. Like Adam Troutman's your one like stable. You know what you're going to get from him for the Broncos. He's better than any of the other options. You know, you just kind of hope that you could find somebody. And I think the real case for Jimmy Graham is that maybe he could teach a Lucas Kroll or a Greg Dulcich how to play a little bit more than he actually produces himself. But you never know. Back in 2020, he had almost 500 yards. So,
Todd, when do you think the last time Jimmy Graham had a 1,000-yard season was?
When I was his teammate.
Nope.
It was older than that.
It was older than that. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
2013. You became teammates with him in 2014 when he was still really good, almost put up 900 receiving yards. But 2013 was his last 1,000-yard receiving season, 1,200 yards. But we're talking over a decade ago. You weren't even in the league. Now you've had a very successful NFL career, and you've retired. And he's still playing, but he's kind of still playing. He didn't play in 2022. Then last year, he did play 13 games, like Henry said, but had 39 receiving yards. He had 6 catches for 39 receiving yards. So this is definitely you're bringing in a veteran presence to try to coach Lucas Kroll. Right now, I think your room's pretty much set with those 3: Lucas Kroll, Adam Troutman, Greg Dulcich.
And Nate Atkins.
And Nate Atkins.
He's your Manhurts replacement.
But if Greg Dulcich isn't ready to start training camp, that's just going to make everyone even more freaked out. But he's already had some things that have made people freak out this offseason. Sean said he was going to be ready to play by the end of the offseason program. He did not do that, so he's already missed that first one. I would so be down for bringing Jimmy Graham in if Greg Dulcich isn't ready. Really just a veteran. You're not going to expect a 500-yard receiving season, but he's one of the best to ever do it. No, Sean Payton's offense can help these tight ends, and the tight end position is so crucial in Sean Payton's offense. Doing anything to help Greg Dulcich or Lucas Kroll develop, I think, would be a good idea.
All love to Jimmy Graham. He's a good teammate, but he's old. I think
He is old.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Does he want to coach? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe if he wants to coach.
There we go.
I think that's a good role.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we need a roster spot taken up.
Because that's the thing is, like, because the tight ends you have on your roster, you could find a way to get Jimmy Graham a tight end spot. The thing is, you probably are going to want to keep, like, 4, maybe 5 running backs. Like, you're probably going to want to keep maybe 6, maybe even 7 receivers. Like, there's just so many spots where you have depth that you don't really want to waste it on Jimmy Graham. At the same time, like, I mean, it would be good for the young tight ends to have him around. I don't know how good or how much benefit you actually see, but it would certainly be a good thing for them if he was there.
Yeah, and Alex says this tight end room is down horrendously.
Yes.
If we're advocating for Jimmy Graham. The tight end room is down horrendously.
Last in the league in receiving yards last year. Yep.
Exactly. So, I mean, just grasping for straws at this position right now, hoping that Lucas Kroll can develop. But one of the things that, Henry, you brought up last week when we talked about biggest takeaways from the offseason was Lucas Kroll picked a great day to be great in the offseason program. It was the very first day. So the first impression on him was amazing. He did nothing the other 4 practices that were open to the media. Doesn't mean that he can't do it, but he's walking away from the offseason program with his name a lot better than his actual performance was, I think.
Well, as Sean said that first day, there were a lot of media people who were looking at the roster trying to see who number 85 was.
Yeah.
And it was Lucas Kroll. So a lot of people learned Lucas Kroll's name.
Yeah.
And I like that day, I remember thinking like, oh, half these Broncos podcasts out there, half the people who talk about the team are saying like, oh, Lucas Kroll's tight end 1, just watch. And I never really jumped on that bandwagon. And you go and watch the first practice and you're like, what was I thinking? It was so obvious. They were right all along. And then you watch the rest and you're like, okay, no, somebody hopefully will step up, but definitely there's no front runner at this point.
Right. That's why maybe Jimmy Graham makes sense. All right, let's hit the final one on offense here. And we've got an offensive lineman.
Yeah, so I didn't include any tackles or guards because you're pretty much set there. And anybody who you would sign would be a starter level, and you're not benching Ben Powers or Garrett Ball, So I only included the center, Connor Williams, who I think might actually be the best lineman on the market. He's a good center. And I think that he probably thought that he was going to maybe not get Lloyd Cushenberry money, but come pretty close to it. That obviously hasn't happened. He's coming off the injury as well. Is that Achilles or ACL? But it seems like he should be back in time. Still pretty young. And this is probably the most tempting from a need standpoint, just because as much as I like Alex Forsythe and I like Luke Wattenberg, this is a guy who's actually gone and played good football, which we haven't seen from those guys yet.
And the best thing about him is in 2018, he played on that Texas team that has like 5 different guys on this Broncos team right now. So he'd fit right in with the culture there. And I mean, yeah, he's a guy that started 77 games in the NFL. If his price tag has fallen a ton and maybe like veteran minimum sort of territory, yeah, you pick up an instant starter right away. That would make a lot of sense for your rookie quarterback for Bo Nix if you want to go that route. I'm okay with where the Broncos are at the center spot right now. It's going to be young. It's going to be inexperienced most likely. But if they didn't love what they saw, the coaching staff didn't love what they saw from the center position this offseason, this is a perfect just sign and start replacement right here.
Yeah, if he's healthy, I feel like it really is like kind of a plug and play. The only thing you have to think about is just like kind of how personalities come together, and like if there's like a little animosity from an old center who used to be Bo Nix's center in college, and now he's a backup, and he almost had his opportunity, and now it's kind of, you know,
there's always the other guy.
There's always that kind of like emotional piece of the game that you got to think about, and that's the only reason why I wouldn't do it there. But other than that, I mean, if he's healthy, it feels like a good fit to really bring his offensive line like fully together. Because at that point, there's no true weak piece. I mean, McGlinchey struggles a little bit on the outside, but he's a very good player. Powers is good. Bowles is good.
Yep.
Big boy is, you know, dominant up front. So I think that'll be a pretty solid front five.
And maybe another reason that he's still available is he tore his ACL week 14.
Yep.
So maybe still not fully healthy there, but an intriguing one if the Broncos do find he's healthy.
Yep.
All right, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball here and talk about some of the defenders. One notable one. Todd, you're a free agent.
I am.
Well, no, you've officially retired. Does that take you off the free agent market? I would imagine.
Think so. Yeah.
So, no, you can't sign Todd. Someone threw that out there in the Toyota chat earlier.
Damn.
Yeah, sorry. But I imagine you could unretire.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Gotta go to where to go, like Cuba, get all those injections, and then unretire, super healthy. Yeah.
All right, Henry, take us through this list of defenders.
This is another one where it's really tough to say who's the best safety because there's just so many. Jamal Adams is really good at one or two things and can't do anything else. Micah Hyde used to be really good at just about everything, and now he's 33. Quandre Diggs, kind of free safety type, which you like, but never really played at the level those other two have. Eddie Jackson has been really steady for forever for the Bears. Jaron Kearse, more of like a hybrid play in the box type, but found a role with the Cowboys the last few years. I didn't include Justin Simmons because we were going to do this on Friday when we talked about him, but we've shared all those thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, and to me, you could also put Kareem Jackson down on this list too. But for me, if you're re-signing a safety, make it Justin Simmons. He's the best of the list. He probably has the most game left on the list. You know exactly what type of person he is, what type of player he is. But we talked about it on Thursday about bringing Justin back. Probably not going to happen unless there's an injury there. The Broncos are intentionally going young at safety. That is something Sean wanted to do for a while now. Now they're going young at safety. It doesn't make sense to bring in Jamal Adams or bring in one of these guys to cover that young depth. So if you're going to do it, make it Justin Simmons. If not, just keep it the way it is right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think our big thing with safety is that we have enough talent. It's just, can they stay healthy? And can they work well together? So I think I'm willing to play that out instead of bringing somebody in to kind of mess up that dynamic.
And given the way this is all going, you can probably snag one in the season if you need to.
Week 3,
yeah. So, yes. I will say Jamal Adams, if I was a defensive coordinator and Jamal Adams was sitting out there for cheap, that would be my one dream where it's just like, okay, this is now like a great third down piece. You don't play him first or second down, and he might be cheap enough that you can justify it. Like, you just use him as like that weapon off the edge, let him go get some sacks. Like, that would be tempting to me, but the price obviously has to be right, and that's probably a move that you make when you're really fighting for every single win, more so than just trying to like get young guys on the field and see what happens.
Do you feel like you play your hand bringing a guy in like that on third down?
I think so, but I think that if you're good enough, then that's fine. You know, like I think we all knew what the no-fly zone defense was doing on third downs. You line up all those guys on the line of scrimmage. I guess you don't necessarily know who's coming, who's going, but you at least know that a bunch of them are going to be rushing, and you wind up covering man-to-man wherever else. So I think that with him, you could play him on a tight end. You could play him on a running back. There might even be some receivers who you can trust. Like maybe, like if you had a Hunter Renfrow, like maybe that is a matchup you like. But I just think that he's a weapon. And it's just some of the numbers he's put up. Like even in Seattle, people don't realize like the sacks that he had.
Oh, I'm looking at it. You're talking about the 0 sacks last year? The
No.
0 sacks the year before?
No.
The 0 sacks the year
But
before?
the year before that,
The
though,
year before that, 9.5.
as a safety.
4 seasons
I
ago.
know, but then
Yeah.
they start asking him to do the wrong stuff. Like we all know Jamal Adams has flaws. You know, that's been pretty obvious. But that's why he's still on the market. And he's cheap. Like there
But
are
that's-
things he does really well.
And that's blitzing.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying. If he comes in on third down, he can only blitz. So it's like when the quarterback comes up and he identifies, you know what I'm saying, the defense, he's looking at Jamal Adams first. Okay, if you blitz, I'm throwing it right in that area because there's going to be a dead zone for about the first 2 seconds of this play. If you don't blitz, I'm throwing it to whoever you're guarding right now. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
no matter what, I think it's going to be a win. That's not
That's
a knock
fair.
on him. I think he's been a great safety for years. I just think right now, I don't know how much you could do,
Yeah.
like, overall.
He to me seems like one of those guys who, like at 28 years old, the book is kind of out on him. But that's why this next stop, they're not going to be, because remember when we first went to Seattle, they're still playing that like old school, like just big straight up cover 3 that they were playing. And that's changed a little bit since then. But the idea that that was ever going to work was just dumb. And it became so obvious so quickly. I think now he's going to be one who we look back on a couple years from now and be like, oh, maybe we wrote him off a little bit too soon.
I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're buying his stock as low as it can be.
Exactly.
So I'll give you credit for that.
Yeah.
I just think there's a reason it's that low.
There is.
Yeah, because it worked
Just
for
limited.
It worked for so many years with that Seattle defense. I mean, they had a name too. I can't remember what it was, but
We don't even
there's
need
a
to talk
name.
about
There was
it.
a name to it because of how good they were, and all they did was play cover 3.
A Legion
all
of Boom.
game
There we
long.
go.
All
We're
game
trying to
long.
That was gross.
avoid it, Henry.
Yeah,
We
I was-
all know what it was. We just didn't want to say it.
I know you guys
Oh
did,
my
but for me, it was,
gosh.
they were dumb.
Okay, let's move on to cornerbacks, I believe.
Yeah, Xavien Howard, older guy, has some like off-field issues right now that are going to probably get in the way of any of these deals getting done. Crazy stuff. We don't need to go down that road. Adoree Jackson, super fast cornerback. Like if you were interested in trying to, I don't know, press up a little bit more this season, like you put Paton on number 1, you put Adoree on a number 2, and you probably like those matchups. Stephon Gilmore is still really tempting to me because he played well again last year,
did.
just over and over and over again. I mean, he picked off the Broncos, right, in the end zone?
Yeah.
Or was that the year before with the Colts? That might have been the year before. Point is, he makes plays still. Same thing with Patrick
He was
Peterson.
in Dallas, right?
Yeah, he was in Dallas last year.
Yeah, a year before he was with the Colts. Peterson may be falling off a little bit more than Gilmore has, but still playing just fine. To me, Stephon Gilmore all of a sudden just kind of solves your cornerback 2 problem. You really like your depth. I don't know. I'd be kind of tempted if he was cheap, but I also get why you just want to play young guys and see what happens.
I would do that if you kind of like center. If in this offseason you've had concerns, the coaching staff has had concerns about that number 2 spot. They haven't liked what they've seen from Damari Mathis. They haven't liked what they've seen from Riley Moss, Levi Wallace. I don't think that's the case. I do think they're optimistic about what could happen there. But if you're all hesitant, yeah, I would do that. Especially he's going to be cheap. I think he went to the Cowboys last year for a very affordable contract. So I'm open for it unless like you do like where these young corners are going. To me, if the Broncos are, taking a little rebuild year, it doesn't make sense to, if you like the trajectory of these young corners, to just totally stop their progress by putting a 33-year-old out there in front of him. So just depends on how they view those young guys. And right now, I think they're too high on the young guys to bring someone like Stephon Gilmore in. But if they did want to bring someone in, Hank, I'm with you. Stephon is a guy that I would bring in.
Yeah, I feel like really Stephon and Pat P, I think they both are just a little bit too old for me. I think they went from
fair.
being lockdown corners to I watched a couple games for the Cowboys, and I didn't think Stephon Gilmore was the guy anymore. Like I think he definitely lost his step. And there was a couple times I saw guys kind of get open, and I'm like, that's not how Stephon Gilmore normally plays. So I think he's maybe it's just the age and the time. He was locked down corner for a lot of years, a lot of wear and tear in your body. As far as the 2 other guys, was Xavien Howard and
Adoree Jackson.
Adoree Jackson. they're tough because they still have the ability to make plays, but they also have the ability to give up big plays.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, too, I don't know if I want to bring one of those guys in because I think just like they could, have a critical third down stop for us, that would be great. I feel like they could just give up a critical third down. That wouldn't be great. So I don't know if I would want that for our DB room as it sits right now.
The thing is, so in Adoree Jackson, he's gotten better. Like, he really struggled early on, but has turned into a pretty good corner. To me, a guy his age, it's kind of 50-50 whether he turns out to be, maybe not Nakeem Talib, maybe like a Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, who came here from New York, actually, which is kind of perfect, for the Broncos. And you're like, oh, wow, this guy really popped here. Or he could be more of like a Dre Bly, who came over from the Lions and just wasn't quite the same guy. And so you see that with these cornerbacks who, they're definitely not like the top of the league, but if they're the right fit, all of a sudden things work out really well. If they're not the right fit, then you wind up, like AJ Boye, things didn't really work out with. Mm-hmm. There's cornerback, unless you're going after one of the elite guys, just feels so risky. I also think new return rules, Adoree Jackson could be a lot of fun.
So not in the cornerback role, but in a kick returner role.
I mean, it's a nice little bonus.
Interesting. All right, let's fly through these last couple of positions here before we're out.
Okay. Defensive line, Hassan Ridgeway is probably the best lineman on the market. Just a nice, good, solid guy. I included Mike Purcell as the second. He probably isn't the second best available, but given the way things have played out with him in Denver the last few years, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if the Broncos bring him back at this point.
No, to me, the defensive line is pretty set, though. They've made some massive investments in there.
The reason I chose two of the bigger guys, though, is just because if there's anything they're missing, it's the true, big boy nose tackle.
Yeah.
Because, you play DJ Jones there, and he can handle it. Angelo Blackson plays that. Malcolm Roach plays that. But they're a little bit undersized at, a true nose tackle. So if they wanted to add one, that would be what I would imagine they'd add.
Yeah. And I feel like with Mike, he's probably in a similar case as Justin, to where if anything happens, he'd probably be the first person they call.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
So
I would imagine some calls been made like that. Linebackers, Shaq Leonard, Kwon Alexander. Also, Kwon Alexander, surprisingly young.
Yeah, 29.
I would have thought that he would have been older by now. Shaq Leonard obviously hasn't played well recently. The injury's a big reason. Kwon Alexander, his best football was probably with Tampa Bay when they won that Super Bowl.
For sure.
Those are two former, I think both all-pro linebackers.
Yeah.
So
What's crazy about this whole list that you put together, Henry, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you could put an all-pro team together from 5 years ago. Now, maybe there's a reason that we're saying from 5 years ago, but in terms of names, this list is flooded with talent.
Offensively, the list isn't great, but I think defensively, you could make the case that if you want to just build an entire defense out of free agents, it'd be better than the Broncos defense.
Wow.
There's a case to be made. You would need some things to work out, but I mean, the edge rushers, Emmanuel Ogbah, Yannick Ngakoue, those are two guys you both expect to probably get 10 sacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's some solid options.
And if the Broncos were seemingly not doing a rebuild or a teardown, it would make more sense to make a case for some of these guys for the Broncos to bring in. But since they're doing it, I think we kind of all agree for the most part, the youth movement's happening here. You don't really want to stop that. And something I don't want to stop is this show, but we do have 2 super chats to hit really quick. First one coming in from Triple G says, give me this guy, Todd Davis, an inside linebacker.
Yeah, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Might need a shoulder replacement before I go back. May I get out there?
Hey, if they pay you for the shoulder replacement, pay you for that year,
they're gonna pay for the shoulder replacement regardless.
That is true. That is true. Good point. And Joshua McCool, our guy, he says flying out to Denver in a couple of days. LFG, and I think he's even gonna maybe stop by the bar too.
Let's go.
We'll be here.
Joshua McCool. So can't wait to see you, Joshua. And Henry, maybe check your DMs. Might be someone sliding in your DMs there. Yeah.
Hey, go down.
Hello, my sister saw your profile while browsing. Hello, nice to meet you. I like chatting with friends.
Hey, I got one of those too.
Yeah.
It said make sure you reach out and tell her who you are. She's very shy.
Exactly. Got a bunch of those. I got a bunch that are actually just in Japanese.
I'm like, what the?
Don't click on any link to respond to that.
No, never.
Howdy.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you all so much for rolling with us today on the very first day of the week. We've got a mailbag coming out in just a few minutes too, so stay tuned for that over on DNVR Sports YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.